Hello, Jim. Going to take apart your cylinder head in real time, which may mean it's going to be similar to watching paint dry, but I wanted to show you what I see as we do it. Now, the first thing we notice is the camshaft has been parkerized, which is nice, which is this dark gray coating on here. And what's interesting is that there's almost no wear on the lobes here, on the ramp on the lobes, on the camshaft. So this thing has not been in service hardly at all, and that's another thing that's surprising us when we showed you the condition of the oil previously, how dark and gray, or well, black. It was actually black and gelatinous. So we don't understand how the oil could have gotten so dark and the camshaft showing so little usage. Anyway, so I'm going to pull the camshaft off, and then we're going to take a look at the head and get that working. Set that to one side and we'll get that cleaned up. Yeah, then. Let's take a look at the cylinder head. And you were asking about the number one, I think, in terms of running. And all of them indicate the engine was running very rich. The carbs were running rich. We got way too much carbon in here for the limited time that this was in service. At the same time, we can read the gasket here. Read where the gasket was making its impression. And what we want to do is check our fire ring all the way around the perimeter. Make sure we had good contact all the way around, because you also have mentioned a coolant leak, and we're still looking for the source of that coolant leak. And all around here we had good contact against the cylinder head in terms of the fire ring on the head gasket. This is particularly thin over here, but that's the way it was designed, that's the way it's made, and it was still holding contact right there. The head gasket has a very, very teeny amount of contact right there. So you can, but it was holding at that very narrow point. So we're going to see if we can find out what's going on elsewhere by pulling the valves out of there. Make sure this is on camera here. Okay. What do we set up for here? Set up for intakes. Get our keepers off of here. They stick with oil and time. Okay. And let's make sure we got our seals up inside here. Ah, here's our seal right here. Okay. Where'd it go? Yep. Yep, it was a good seal, and didn't show any signs of. Nope, it did get boogered up. Okay, so they did not install it very carefully, and you can see, hopefully you can see in the center here how that's not an O-ring, it's not a circle, a nice circle in the center. It's all chewed up. It means they didn't use the little caps. There's little caps, special caps that go on here to allow the sharp edges of the groove right here to go past and through the seal and keep from chewing up the inside of the O-ring. So that's a negative right there. So it looks like we're on the right track for finding out things about your cylinder head. So let's keep going. All right, let's reconfigure for exhaust valves. Let's see how that works. Those keepers before they walk away. Right. Yeah, let's take a look, see what we got here. Take some more of these off, the intakes. Yep, showing definite signs of brutalization, so we're on the right track. In fact, this one came off and darn near split. That one should not have come off that easily. Okay. All right, doing good deeds here. Same thing with this. Same thing with the exhaust. This one, in fact, it was actually distorted to where it's not even oval anymore, or round anymore. Let's keep the valves in there for the time being. All right. Yep. Yeah, those. Oh yeah. Well, this one's one of the worst. Make sure it's on camera well enough you can see it. That one was no longer round. Okay. So You have very specific little sleeves that go on top of here, and it's a just like just a little teeny sleeve with a rounded tip on it, where the it goes through the O-ring, through the valve stem seal, and prevents problems like this from happening. That thing getting all boogered up. All right, so now let's change direction here. Let's change the angle of dangle. In fact, I'm going to get different gloves on. These are very oily. All right, so now we're going to check our valves. See what kind of play we've got between the valve and the guide. We want obviously enough that it moves up and down, but not so much that it moves laterally, and that's what we're going to feel for right now. I feel no lateral movement, so somebody knew what they were doing at this point. It was just on the assembly that they made some mistakes. So we're going to clean these up, put them in the carb cleaner in the juice tank, and clean up everything and see what we got in terms of the valve job, and go from there. So just want to have you see what I see. In fact, what we might do, let's see if we can, I don't think we can duplicate this because, well, let's see if we can see on here. Let me get some towels, clean this up, and see if we can see the contact on the valve face. See how they did in terms of the valve job. I'm going to have to get my glasses on so I can see it. What we're looking for is how much contact we have here between the valve face and the seat. We want minimal contact where it just touches. Don't want it to be too wide of a contact area, and you can just see. All right, so if you can, hope you can see that there's a gray patch right across here. There's a gray patch right here, and this is shiny, and that's shiny. And this is the valve. This is where the valve has been contacting the seat. And this face right here is a little bit wider than I would like, but it's not bad, but a little bit wider than I would like, because that means the more contact you have here, the more well, you want less contact so that the valve just seats and closes, but with not so much contact that it could stick, or you just don't want a wide seat. You want a narrow seat. And this is wider than normal, wider than I would like, but I think it would have been serviceable. So I think your trouble was, we had two main issues. Valve stem seals were not going to hold, and carburetors were running excessively rich. So let's see how they did on the exhaust while we're here. Well, this one was... You were talking about number one, I believe you were mentioning. There's an issue with that, but this one was not closing completely. Can you see that here's a shiny spot right here. And it gets dark. And I don't see a definite contact area. It was... Well, I hope you can pick this up on the camera. I'm not sure how much clarity this thing will give you, but you were not getting... Well, the contact area looks like this very thin stripe right at the very top, so that is not where this valve is supposed to be contacting. Your contact area is supposed to be down here in the middle. This thing was at the top, so someone had cut the seat wrong. Let's take a look on the other ones while we're here. Paper towels, the most important tool I've got in the shop. Let's see if we can find... Now this one's a little bit wider and at the very top. It should not be at the very top. But we've got not quite full contact. You can see the dark place right here. Dark spots, dark area. Dark, and then it comes around shiny. It's definitely shiny right here. So, weren't getting full contact for some reason. These were not closing completely, it looks like. And we do have an awful lot of carbon on something with such short, low miles rather. See, that should clean up and we should be able to see the contact area. But see how dark it is? Got a little bit of a shiny spot right here, but this was totally dark. Got one little shiny spot here, so that's another problem. These valves were not closing completely for some reason. Let's do the last one while we're here. Okay, this looks like the same thing, only maybe almost the worst of the bunch. See how dark it is across here? Completely dark. There's a little bit of shine right there, a little bit of contact. A little bit of contact, and it goes away. It's dark, and it's contact. I mean, yeah, shiny from contact, and it gets dark again. Okay. Well, we're on the right track. Get you taken care of. Also, I'll get this surface cleaned off. Check for straightness in terms of the cylinder head. So that's how it works. Thanks for hanging in there and watching to this point.